CNN's resident Birdbrain, Chris Cillizza, however you say it, I don't care. He gave the stalest, dumbest, most predictable, and stupid take of all time on the issue of presidents and the act of being presidential. Let's watch.
Two ex-presidents have emerged to help console and cheer up the country amid the coronavirus pandemic, even as the current resident of the White House lashes out more and more at his supposed enemies. Simply put, George W. Bush and Barack Obama have shown a level of grace and class that has been missing in Donald Trump. And in so doing, they've reminded us all what a president should say and do in moments of real crisis. First came Bush with a video message for the country in early May.
We are not partisan combatants. We are human beings, equally vulnerable and equally wonderful in the sight of God. We rise or fall together, and we are determined to rise. And I have no doubt, none at all, that this spirit of service and sacrifice is alive and well in America.
We rise or fall together. This spirit of service and sacrifice is alive and well in America. Those are inspiring words. They're conciliatory words. They're kind words. And how did Donald Trump react to Bush's call for unity? Well, just about how you'd expect. He tweeted that Bush, quote, was nowhere to be found in speaking up against the greatest hoax in American history, end quote. Now, Trump was referring to his impeachment by the House, which was brought about by Trump asking the Ukrainian president to look into unverified allegations of wrongdoing by Joe Biden and his son, Hunter. Classy. Then came the news that Barack Obama and his wife Michelle would give a series of commencement addresses to high school and college graduates impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. Quote, I've always loved joining commencements, the culmination of years of hard work and sacrifice, Obama wrote on Twitter. He added, even if we can't get together in person this year, Michelle and I are excited to celebrate the nationwide class of 2020 and recognize this milestone with you and your loved ones, end quote. Later in that same week, Obama placed phone calls to Chicago public school teachers to thank them for their service. It was Teacher Appreciation Week. Sidebar, Michelle Obama's documentary Becoming also premiered in early May on Netflix, offering its own message of both vulnerability and hope. And Michelle Obama may well be more popular than either former president at this moment, end of sidebar. Now this is, of course, not the first time that we have seen either George W. Bush or Barack Obama show the sort of empathy and leadership that we've come to expect from presidents, especially in moments when we are, as a country, scared or angry. Bush's single best moment as president came when he traveled to New York City days after the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks, grabbed a bullhorn, climbed atop a pile of wreckage, and said this.
I can hear you, the rest of the world hears you, and the people who knocked these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Honestly, that still gives me chills watching that clip almost 20 years later. And Obama repeatedly rose to the occasion when circumstances demanded it. His eulogy for 9 African Americans murdered by a white supremacist at the Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina in 2015 was not just one of the best speeches of his presidency, but one of the best presidential speeches. Quote, as a nation, out of this terrible tragedy, God has visited grace upon us, for he has allowed us to see where we have been blind, Obama said. He has given us the chance where we've been lost to find our best selves. We may not have earned it, this grace, with our rancor and complacency and short-sightedness and fear of each other, but we got it all the same, end quote. And then, in that speech, Obama did this. Look, neither Bush nor Obama were perfect presidents. Both men said and did things they probably wish, in hindsight, they hadn't said and done. But what both men understood during their presidencies and now was this. Being the leader of the free world carries with it huge responsibility. You have to put aside your own interests and try your best to do what's best for the country. You need to cajole and console Empathy matters, and so does reassurance. In our darkest moments as a nation, both men did their best to remind us of our shared humanity and our common decency.
Living parody. Living parody. The quintessential encapsulation and stereotype of an elite media moron. You do not have to rehabilitate other presidents in order to argue that Trump is bad. There's enough bad stuff that Donald Trump has done to argue on the merits and on the policies and on the record that Donald Trump is bad. But honestly, Chris and all of the mainstream media clowns are too ignorant and too lazy to know the details and the specifics as to how and why Trump is bad. Like, for example, the 432% increase in drone strikes. Totally unacceptable. The continuation of our wars, totally unacceptable. The ripping up of the Iran deal, totally unacceptable. The escalating tensions with Cuba, totally unacceptable. The 2017 GOP tax cut, where 83% of the benefits went to the top 1%, terrible. Destroying the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, terrible. Getting rid of your internet privacy, a bill that had a 6% approval rating and Donald Trump signed it, terrible. I can go on and on. See, I could do this because I actually know the specifics of it. So I could argue Trump is bad based on the specific policy proposals and his record. What I don't have to do is rehabilitate war criminals. Okay, now let's dive into it. Here's my response to the giant fluff job that Chris Cillizza did with George W. Bush and Barack Obama. The war in Iraq. Illegal offensive war against a country that didn't attack us. The war in Afghanistan. It's been going on for 19 years. There's still no end in sight. There's still no definition of victory, and the military-industrial complex has gotten colossally wealthy off of it. As we've killed hundreds of thousands of civilians in Iraq and Afghanistan together. Hundreds of thousands. Torture. George W. Bush ordered torture. Illegal under U.S. law and international law. It's a war crime, just like his illegal and offensive wars are war crimes. Deregulation of the marketplace, which led to the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession. That was under Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, who further exacerbated it. Tax cuts for the wealthy. That happened under George W. Bush as well. Then you had bailing out Wall Street. That happened under George W. Bush and under Barack Obama. Not prosecuting torturers. That's what Obama did. Not prosecuting the financial scammers on Wall Street. That's what Obama did. Having his cabinet picked by those financial criminals from big banks. That's what Obama did. Continued the endless wars. Killed civilians 90% with his drone strikes. Suspended habeas corpus. Pushed TPP and other outsourcing deals endlessly. Those deals, of course, hurt the working class. Did a right-wing healthcare reform, which left tens of millions of people uninsured. It was just a giant giveaway to the health insurance companies. That's what Obama did. And he was giving him credit for singing at the funeral of gun victims. Obama couldn't get any gun reform through. Nothing. How can you bring up an issue, namely gun violence, where you go on to give Obama credit, and on that very issue, he also failed? How do you do that, Chris? How are you that dumb? But this gets to the main point, guys, and you know it to be true, and deep down, Chris himself knows it to be true. These people have the political analysis of a dog. I mean that. And let me explain what that means. Dogs sense body language from you. So it's all about how you act, what you're portraying, and the dog will feed off of your energy. Okay? If a dog's barking at you and being aggressive, and you kind of start running away, they're going to chase you. They go, yeah, I got him. Victim, going after him. That's what'll happen. But if you show strong body language back and let them know who's boss, all of a sudden they'll back down. Okay? Chris Cillizza, all he cares about in politics is politeness, civility, decorum, and fake leadership. let me act very presidential. Let me act like I'm a very serious person saying serious things. And then, yes, I'll be defended by the elite idiots in the media. Yes. So all you have to do is sound professional. And he's sold hook, line, and sinker. So as long as you are acting like a president would act in a movie or on a TV show, that's it. That's all Chris Cillizza needs. Oh my God! He talks in full sentences and he sounds so polite and he seems smart. That's all he needs. So in other words, guys like Chris Cillizza, honestly, he just wants somebody to BS him. And this goes for the rest of corporate media too. They just want somebody, Democrat or Republican, who BSs them and makes them think everything's okay and makes them think they're in control and they have leadership qualities. That's what he wants. Because he brings up the 9/11 bullhorn speech as a positive for George W. Bush and doesn't tell you that Bush's policy reaction to 9/11 was exactly what I laid out, which was illegal and offensive wars against countries that didn't attack us based on lies and torture. And wasting trillions of dollars, $7 trillion when all said and done, in Iraq alone. But he doesn't care about any of the details, any of the specifics, any of the policies, any of the real world harm. To him, it's just, I don't know, he sounds polite, he sounds civil, he sounds like he has decorum, he seems like a leader, so I'm soothed. Well then, listen, I know I'm not going to get through to Chris Cillizza when it comes to substantive arguments like the one I'm making, okay? But what I will say is this to Chris. Hey man, even if your main thing is politeness, civility, and decorum, even if that's your standard, my standard is I want a president to be polite, civil, and show decorum. Well, it's really impolite to kill civilians. It's really impolite to torture. It's really not civil to torture and kill civilians. So even by your own standard, it's pretty impolite. It's pretty uncivil to give all the money to the rich, deregulate the banks, and crash the economy and screw over millions of people and have millions of people foreclosed on. That's pretty impolite. That's pretty uncivil. That's really not leadership now, is it? Not leadership for the country, certainly not. Maybe for the wealthy donors, not for the country. So even according to your own standard, they're not wildly successful presidents. But this is what these people do, man. This is what elite media does, and it has duped a lot of the population. You'll see nostalgia is strong. People like Bush. People like Obama now, and the numbers are overwhelming. But that's totally disconnected from what they actually did. What their actual record is. To Chris, it's just about, oh my God, Trump is raw. Trump is unfiltered. Trump is crazy. Trump is loud. I just want somebody who's quiet and polite and civil and has decorum and pretends to be a good leader. So in other words, he wants somebody to BS him. Chris, that says so much about you, and it really says nothing about Obama and Bush, because Obama and Bush, they are what they did. Trump is what he does. That's what you are in this world. You are what you do. And all of them are war criminals, to say the least. There are a lot more negative things as well, which I just went through. But you never acknowledge it because you want to feel like the president is like daddy. You want to feel like the president, oh, make me feel good, daddy. Tell me everything's going to be okay. He's a child. He's like a dog. This is what he wants in a leader. It's pathetic. You shouldn't have a job on CNN. This is pathetic propaganda for the establishment wing of both parties. This is propaganda for establishment Democrats and establishment Republicans. That's his basic argument summed up. Just give me anybody from the establishment wing of either party and I'll be okay. So in other words, the same people that were so bad, so dreadful that they brought us Trump, they got us Trump. He wants to go back to the thing that got us Trump, and perhaps we'll get a worse Trump. That's how broken this guy's mind is and how pathetic he is.